Hey guys, welcome back. We are here with the hCG Diet interviews with everyday people. I have Tamra with me today. We have a lot of neat things to discuss. I always get extra excited when I have an interview, a guest who has been maintaining her weight loss for a period of time. And for her, it's actually been like a full year. So that gets me excited because I know how encouraging that is to you, because we all know how successful phase 2 is for weight loss. It's just that after part that gets hard. And she has a lot of other details too that we can talk about that I think will be encouraging to you guys. So welcome, Tamra.
Hi. Hi,
Hello. So I always like to just jump right into it. I don't like to shoot the breeze too much because people want to hear the story. So give us just all of your basics in a nutshell, like your height and age and health stuff and that type of thing, just about you.
Okay, so I'm 5'4". I'm just turned 51 this year in March, and I weigh 120. I've been thin all my life, but I found 5 years ago that I started struggling with my weight. Didn't know what was happening. Found out that I had a hormonal imbalance. So there was some hormones that I had barely any of. So it explained a lot what was going on. I did get those supplemented, and once that was supplemented, I started being able to lose a little weight, not enough, and I just wanted just a little bit more of a kickstart, and then I heard about hCG, so I was curious about it, and I figured, well, it's not going to harm anything, might as well try it. It's pricey, so I'm going to stick to it.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad I did, because actually when you think about other things you could get into, you're actually spending more money in the long run. So
Right. No, that's true, actually. That's actually a very good point. So tell us, just in a nutshell then, what were your basic results from doing hCG? Weight change, size change?
drastic weight change and belly fat. I was getting a lot of belly fat, and I think a lot of that has to do with after a certain age, you start collecting fat in certain areas, and I've always had a small waist, a big bottom. I'm just built like that, and then all the weight started going to my belly, which that was unusual, and it actually felt like a sack of potatoes there. Like if I bent over, it felt like something was there,
Yeah.
So noticing that, hCG has changed a lot. Actually, my weight has gone down. I think I've always been in high school about 105, 110. I couldn't even go down that far because it would be too skinny. It's
Right.
totally a drastic different weight. My shoe size went down a whole size, which is unheard
Wow.
of.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess my foot was fat for a while. So I had to actually go out and get some new shoes because I was walking out of my shoes.
Yeah.
The waistline came back. Actually, I think I look a lot better now than I did when I was in my teenage and 20s. And I never wanted to compare myself to that. That's then.
Yeah.
But I did want to be more healthier. That was my main reason, is to be healthy, not have any health issues. People around my age group were having heart attacks, and that's another thing I just didn't want to deal with. I don't have that I know of in my family, but I don't want to be the first one and they go, oh yeah, so and so has a problem or whatever. But hCG, I found, has helped me with, I didn't feel hungry. It got rid of a lot of the fat and a lot of the areas and totally reshaped me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was your, when you started your first round of hCG, what was your starting weight then, and what size were you at that point when you started?
I was 170, and it kind of blew a lot of people away because I layer clothes.
Gotcha.
Um,
You hit it well.
didn't want to display it,
Right.
So, yeah, now I could brag about, oh yeah, I was 170. I would never tell anyone that I was
At
170.
the time. So you were 170. I think you wrote you were like a size 12 or something.
Yeah, because I have a bigger bottom area, or
Yeah.
did. I don't like tight-fitting clothes.
Yeah.
and especially at work. So I had to fit basically my bottom area instead of my waist
Right.
because they're totally two different
I actually have the
sizes.
same problem. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
yeah. So I got a little bigger with the sizes just so I could look. It just seemed like if I wore something looser, it made me look smaller because if I wore it tight and it started showing rolls,
Of
you're
course,
just
yes.
displaying
Yep.
the problem.
Smooth looks thinner.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Okay, so you were 170 when you started, around a size 12, and then you ended up at 120? And what
120.
size was that? What size are you now then?
At the end of it, I went to a size 4, but as I've been toning, I went down to a size 2. I had to trade
Wow.
in all my, I went on Poshmark and got rid of a lot of my size 4s and traded them into size 2s.
Oh my gosh. And I don't think we mentioned this yet, you guys, but she is postmenopause. So that's, whoa.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That must feel so good. And especially, you can tell obviously that to get to a smaller size like that, um, in a healthy way, like that you have a lot of muscle,
Mhm.
obviously,
Yes.
right? To do that.
Yes.
So that's phenomenal. That is amazing. So that's about 50 pounds, you guys. 50
Yeah.
pounds that you've lost. Now, how many rounds of HCG did you do total?
The first one I did was 40 days.
Okay.
It was like 41 days or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I did the 21 day. Then I just wanted to see where I would be, how it would work,
Yeah.
because I thought I was going to be at a higher weight. And I go, well, maybe I'll just be happy if I went down to 140. That's,
We
and
all start out that way. Like I
yeah,
did the same thing because you're just not really expecting much. Like you're to that point where you're like, It's probably hoping for too much to, you know what I mean, at this point
yeah,
in my life or whatever. But then it just ends up working better than you think.
yeah, yeah. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to get one more round. So 24 day, I think.
Okay.
And that was it. I was fine with that weight. I was happy with it.
Cool. So you
Yeah.
did one long round and then two shorter rounds, basically.
One 40 day and then one 24 day. So
So just the two.
that's where I got mixed up when I was writing. I go, wait a minute, I can do.
Oh,
I
gotcha,
did two.
gotcha.
I did
Just
two.
two round. I
One
got it. Oh, I see that
little,
there.
yeah,
Got it. Got it. Wow, that is even better then. So really just the 6 weeks, you guys, she got a big chunk off and then you did another basically 3 week round, a couple days more than that, and you got the other chunk off and you were done.
yeah,
50 pounds later.
yeah.
So that's awesome. And that's because you didn't do a failed round two like I did. I had to redo it. So smart girl.
Well,
That's great.
your website has helped me with that too, because I was thinking, okay, this is what you can do. You gave a lot of hints.
Spare
So
the pain.
helped me from day one to the end because I'm like, what can I find out there? They usually tell you don't look into other sites when you're
Right.
on CG because you can get some bad advice.
Right.
And somehow I found yours, thank God, and
Good.
just guided me all the way through it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. Hey, I was curious. So you said in high school
Hmm.
you were about 105 to 110 pounds, and like what size were you then? Were you similar size?
Size 2.
See, so okay, this is what always makes me get all crazy about HCG and that I really feel like it's preserving muscle more than say another diet.
Yeah.
Because how could you be 120 pounds in
Hmm.
a size 2 when you were 105 pounds in a size 2 in high school? That means you had to have more fat and less muscle then than
Yes.
now,
Yes.
right? So
Yep.
it's, which is great because that means like for our metabolisms, you can eat more,
Hmm.
and like you said, you feel like you look better. You're just healthier,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So I
That's
wanted to
awesome.
be more athletic looking, I guess. Not too
Yeah.
bulky, but
Right.
more leaner, athletic looking.
Yeah. I just think it's easier to maintain too, It's
It's a lot
our
easier to
muscle
maintain.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. And
Since
now
it's
you actually did
slower.
some body fat testing,
Yeah.
right? Can
Hmm.
you tell us what your beginning and ending percentages were for that?
Well, the beginning, I didn't do the underwater. We did the body spec. Uh,
Okay, what is that by the way? I don't actually, what's body
that's
spec?
when they actually have your bone density. They'll check everything.
Oh,
So
so like
you're,
a DEXA scan?
yes, yes,
Okay, so that was very accurate then. So
yeah.
DEXA scan is a form of body fat testing. It's very highly accurate. So, and what was your percentage then?
It was 33%.
Okay, so 33%, which is considered, I think, obese,
Yeah,
which
it
I
had me
was
much
similar. I
there.
think I was about 34 or something. So,
Yeah,
yeah. And then where did you end up at the end?
19.
19%. And that's with the hydrostatic body fat testing, right?
Yes. Yeah,
And
and
you guys,
that's
if you're curious about this, I'm going to link in the show notes to where these types of body fat testing and where you can go to find one locally, like the names to search, because it's really, really helpful when you know your body composition, because then you don't have to freak out like, her being 120 versus 105. If she didn't know her body fat percent, she might be thinking like, oh, maybe I should be thinner still. Like, no, dude, you have like an athlete level body fat percent. So you can feel good and confident. That's awesome. And actually, I think she sent me a picture of her latest one, her body fat. Well, so we'll try to put that in the show notes too, like a picture of it or something. That's so good. What made you decide to do that? Because not too many do that.
I wanted something more accurate than the scale. I have something at home that does the water content of your body and all that stuff, but I read about the underwater,
Yeah.
and actually on your site you had a couple of options, and I did the bod pod
Okay.
where you
The
go
air
into it and it's like
displacement.
an air, yeah, and I
Yeah.
did that, God, years ago,
Gotcha.
and like that, but trying to find that location. I'm like, oh, let's do the underwater. I haven't done that. And I
Yeah.
found it really interesting. And I watched some videos on it. So when I went in, I didn't freak out or anything like
Right.
that.
You know what to expect.
Knew what to expect. And they had it at a cross training facility. So it was a mobile one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was
Cool.
pretty cool to do.
That's neat.
Very comfortable because the water is nice and warm and
Yes.
yeah. So it was
Yeah.
really interesting to see the results.
That's good. Yeah, I know. Actually, maybe I can even explain for those of you who aren't familiar with it. Yeah, like she said, all the ones I've been to are mobile. Also, it's basically a large semi truck
Yeah.
with some branding on it, and inside is a mobile little setup. And they often will go to different gyms, and you can go to their website and sign up, and they'll tell you what gym they're going to be at on what day, and you make an appointment. And yeah, like you said, it's basically like a large bathtub,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yes.
it's warm, so yeah, it's nice. So as long as you don't mind being underwater, you don't have to be nervous about anything. Sometimes people talk about being panicky, but
Yeah.
as long as you're comfortable swimming, I mean, you should be fine.
Yeah.
It's not really deep. You actually lay down, on your stomach, and they have this thing they hook up, and basically you just have to. They do it like 3 to 4 times because they want to get the most accurate. So they'll kind of do an average sometimes. Because what you need to do is blow all the air out of like as much air out as possible because air gets translated as fat. So
Yeah, so I was blowing pretty hard to get all the air out.
yeah, I know. I'm like at the end of like little spitules, and you're like, and then you like, that's probably where people panic, and you don't have to do it that way. It's just like I want it to be accurate. So you're
Yeah.
like, and then you're like, trying to breathe, like coming out of it because you just let out so much air. So, I'm like, I got another pound out. No.
I know.
Yeah, it's too funny. Yeah, so it's a really interesting experience. And the neat thing is if you do it over time, especially if you do it before your hCG journey or partway through and then the end, you have a very clear picture then of how much fat you lost and how much muscle, and it's all very clear. So
Yeah. And they also work with you too, because they're like, well, what do you want out of this? Why are you doing this?
yeah,
And I said, well, I'm aiming to be 19%, the certain percentage.
yeah,
But I want to make sure, because I do the yoga and Pilates, and I do the knotless machine weights. I don't do the free weights or
gotcha.
the cross training stuff.
Yeah,
But I wanted to make sure I can see it, and I know muscle's more condensed and all that stuff, so it will weigh more at times.
right.
But I just want to make sure I'm on the right track, and it showed I'm on the right track. So
That's exciting.
it's nice to have that calorie. The person mentioned, if you want to gain more muscle mass, these are the calories that you can have.
Yeah,
On your resting day, it's, what was it, 14, and then if you want to build more muscle, if you do go hiking and this and that, put those calories back in to make sure your calorie intake is
Yeah.
proper for what you want to do.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and any suggestions or questions or anything that you have, they'll guide you to. So that was nice to
That's
have
cool.
that.
That's good. Cool. Well, good. So hopefully some of you guys, that was helpful for you guys for, yeah, if you want to check into that. And so then how long has it been that you've been maintaining since the end of your last round?
I ended around this time last year.
Oh, so like June,
Yeah,
June-ish.
yeah,
Wow. So yeah, so full year, you guys.
yeah.
And that's significant. We'll talk about that more later. I totally want to like just pick your brain about your maintenance, like what you do, because that obviously speaks a lot since you are maintaining, you know. So we'll get into that more too. How about like your history though? You mentioned it briefly that about 5 years ago. So I guess when you were about 46 or so.
Mhm,
What's your history with weight and all that? Sounds like you said you were actually fairly fit and thin for most of your life.
mhm.
And then, so was when your hormones got off, was that basically when you hit like menopause or premenopause, or you weren't there yet when you started having the weight issues?
I was,
Or
yeah,
maybe
I
it's hard to
was,
know.
no, well, was it post? That was mid in between. It wasn't before, that's for sure, and it wasn't after. It was in between
So the
the middle of
transition.
it.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
I see, gotcha. So you had just all of your hormones were kind of like low. I was
Yeah.
curious, your doctor, is he just like a regular doctor, or was he some type of alternative naturopathic kind of doctor, or?
Well, my doctor requested to go to a, I cannot pronounce this for the life of me, the
Oh, an endocrinologist?
yes, it's
Okay, yeah. So they like specialize more in that. Yeah, in
yeah.
hormones
So
and all
they
that.
did the blood test and checked everything.
Gotcha.
And yeah, my thyroid was really, really low.
Really?
Um, Progesterone, very
Gotcha.
low. And this one shocked me too because girls do need testosterone and I barely had any. So
Oh.
um,
And
that
that's important
explained
for being able to build muscle too.
that
Yeah.
explained it because I always was able to build muscle easily
Yeah.
and hold it and all that stuff. And I noticed it's just my body was turning to mush like a marshmallow. And I'm like,
Wow.
what's going on? So that was one of them. So those are the three things that I was lacking.
Gotcha. Now, once they started you on the hormone replacement and like so they put you on thyroid medication, I'm assuming too,
Yeah. And
and all
everything's
that.
very low dosage and it hasn't changed. So I go in twice a year just to make sure everything is leveled out and everything is still the same. It's perfect. It's working for me. All I needed was just
A
the
little
boost
bit.
thing.
Awesome. And do you still take all those other hormone replacements too on low dosages now
Yes.
even? Cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's good to know. And you took those through your HCG journey as well. Is that
Yes.
right? Okay.
And I'm
Cool.
basically going to have to take them for the rest of my life to
Right.
have everything balanced.
Right. Yeah. No, and that's true. That's a good point too, you guys, because sometimes I think one thing that's often purported about the HCG hormone and the protocol is that it will kind of like reset everything in a way, but yeah, I haven't seen that to be true. So like if you're on some drugs, you're gonna need the drugs or the or the hormones or whatever. You're still gonna need to usually use that. You know, in some cases things can. It sounds like you're already on a low dose, so that's great. For me, like originally with my thyroid condition I have, I was on a very high dosage of T3, which is it's active thyroid hormone, and I was able to reduce it quite a bit. So I don't know for sure if that's from the weight loss or not, to be honest. I don't know how much of it has to do with CrossFit as well, but like I'm on a fraction, like probably a seventh of what I used to take of my medication. So if you on a very high dosage of something, it's possible that through these changes in your life that you might not need as much. But it is definitely so worth taking what you do need because for long-term happiness and energy, you
Well, I
know.
found out too also the progesterone. I sleep like a baby. Yeah.
Really? So that was
Um,
a big difference for you
no
once you
hot
started it?
flashes, no nothing. Yeah, everything just came
Oh,
together
that's
and that was
amazing.
awesome.
That's
So,
great. Do you know what type of, do you mind if I ask this because a lot of women are probably curious about this too. Is it like a bioidentical one or what is it that do you take it?
identical. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a cream or something or?
No, it's a gel capsule, and because I
Oh,
can't cut it in half and I needed such a low dosage, I
yeah.
take it every other night.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, and so you were having trouble sleeping then prior to that for a time?
Yeah, all my life,
Oh,
I never slept really 8 hours. And so I didn't
wow.
think I really needed it. I'd get 6 and I'd feel great. Any less
Yeah,
than that, so,
right.
but now I sleep like a baby and actually dreams and everything. And in the
Oh, that's
weekend, I let
good.
myself sleep in, don't put the alarm clock on.
Yeah,
And, yeah, I have no problem sleeping at all.
that's
So that's
awesome.
nice. Yeah.
And that's important too for weight maintenance, actually, really. Being
Yeah.
able to sleep and sleeping enough, I think. So that probably really helps you too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
does definitely make a big difference because I notice the days that if I wake up early and we went out the night before and you just get a little bit of hours, there's a difference on, well, the way you feel,
Right.
but the water retention and
Mhm.
just everything,
Gotcha.
everything. Sleep goes a long way.
Yeah, no, that's true. So initially, then, when you started gaining weight, since you kind of ended up being about 50 pounds overweight, what led to that? Like, was it, it sounds like it was the hormone imbalance itself, obviously, that played a role, right? Like, that
Yeah.
changed how your body utilized the same calories you were eating before.
Hmm.
Um, you mentioned another element of that, though, that not feeling as well led you to make different eating choices, too. Do you want to talk about that for a second?
Just feeling really tired and sluggish. So I guess anything sugary, because I do love sweets, anything sugary um, or starchy, I would eat, and almost like not be able to stop it. I mean, I could just
Right.
just nonstop eat it and feel good about it, and then I'd just get that sugar drop.
Right.
But I noticed just doing a lot of that and not really being conscious like I was before. It
Yeah.
was like, well, it is what it is. I
Right.
might as well be happy, and
Yeah.
whatever I want and see what happens. But then when I would try to, well, I'll just eat a little healthier and try to lose weight, no, it wasn't happening.
Nothing budged.
Nothing, nothing but
Oh man, I like that you brought that out, that when you feel, because of the hormone imbalance and the thyroid issues changing how you feel, that changes what you eat, that you do make less wise decisions, and that's another element of it, which is why it's so important to address those things, because even for long-term maintenance, if you're still feeling really tired or not sleeping well and all that, it's going to make maintenance hard, right? Because
yeah.
because I totally do that too. If I get really tired or I'm up too late, and I'll just be looking around to like scarf all kinds of stuff down.
And you're not even hungry. I'm like, I am not even, I
Right.
don't even know why I'm eating this. It doesn't even taste, some of the stuff doesn't even taste good.
Right, you're just kind of stuffing your face.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And it sounds too like for you, like you had already started gaining some weight from the hormone issues. So because you seemed like you felt kind of helpless, like you didn't really know what was wrong and how to fix it. So like you said, might as well be happy and eat what I want to eat at least, because I
Yeah,
can't seem to fix this problem.
yeah. And then because I was layering my clothes and turning to spandex,
Yeah.
leggings and all that
You
stuff,
can't tell as much.
you couldn't tell, but you didn't feel it either. When you wear tight pants, you're like, oh God, I feel crappy.
Right.
Well, I had stretchy pants, so it
Yep.
didn't matter.
Yeah, it's true. I kind of live in sweatpants a lot, so I figure I'm like, yeah, I do weigh myself because it's so true that, like, I've got a good 4 inches in each thigh leg of space, so I could grow pretty large without noticing. So I do have to weigh. That's funny. Oh, well, thank you for sharing all that. I think, yeah, those are all really helpful things, and I think it's also a good point too, because we all have such different stories. Some of the women I interview like dealt with being overweight their whole lives. But then there's other women who, like you, maybe were thin most of their lives, but then there's like this shocking thing that happens when your body go through a body change, and it's just not the same anymore, and you too end up having a similar weight struggle. So it's neat that the hCG seems to really work for so many women. Yeah. So you did injections, right?
Yes, I
For
did.
both rounds, and
Uh-huh.
I think you wrote that you did 125 IU, which is what works well for a lot of people, and you weren't hungry, it sounds like, on that.
Not at all.
That's
Actually,
awesome.
that was awesome. I was not hungry at all.
That is so cool.
So.
That is great. Well, oh, you know what else I wanted to ask you? So you did the injections. How about the B12 or the lipo shots? Did you ever do those? What was your opinion of those?
I did those, and when I was doing the hCG, I mixed it with the vitamin B.
Gotcha.
So I got to try that and go, okay, I feel good.
Yeah.
Let's throw in the lipo shots and see how that works. Because the doctor mentioned, you'll probably get better results from this.
Yeah.
So I tried it, and yeah, never feeling tired.
Cool.
I wanted to try it because of losing the fat. It would help with detox, getting all the
Right.
toxins out of my system
Yeah.
and not put too much into the kidneys and all that stuff. So I think that was one of the reasons why I looked into that.
Yeah, I do like that idea too because I had never, to be honest, had never heard of them until I was done with my own journey. So, and I do get questions about it all the time. So I've been trying to ask more people and, just get more feedback on it. And yeah, from my research, it's true. It's like it helps your liver break down the fat more efficiently and just in a healthier manner, which kind of does make sense for a protocol like this, just because you're not losing fat slowly.
Hmm.
In another case, your body can probably detoxify more easily by itself, because it's much slower. But here you're losing a fair amount of fat, at least a third
Yeah,
pound or half pound a day of
yeah,
fat, actual fat that your body's having to process, and fat, toxins are stored in fat and all that different stuff. So, and I was surprised when I did a little survey I sent to my email list of everybody. I was like, okay, you guys, tell me what you think. And I have the blog post where I have the people who felt like it didn't help at all and the people who felt like it did. I was surprised by how many did have positive things to say about it. So that was kind of interesting. You also mentioned, so you did the lipo shots, you said randomly while on hCG. So I was wondering how often approximately is randomly?
well, like twice a week.
Okay, gotcha. About twice a
Yeah, I
week.
didn't do it every day, twice a week.
Gotcha. And then you also mentioned that you did them during phase 3 too.
Yeah, and it helped during phase 3. Um, Basically for the same reasons and just starting to put things back into my diet.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I guess I really like, I don't take any multivitamins or anything like that. I try to get it out of my food.
Yeah.
So taking the B was awesome and
Cool.
they helped towards that. But also the lipo shots had had everything in it too,
Good.
additional. So
Right. That's cool.
yeah.
That's great. Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Well, tell me, let's get into like when you were in phase 2 now, starting the protocol, like, and then maybe loading and stuff. Sometimes the first week can be hard for people, but like, how was it for your experience when you first started?
The phase two, I'm more of a structure person, and I basically eat like that anyway, but not that low in calories.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any problem with it because I was so excited to do it. I was determined to do it.
Yeah.
My mind was set. I picked a time where we don't have all these parties and things to go to.
That's smart.
And also thinking, I mean, stuff still goes on, but it's like there's never really going to be a good time. You just have to pick it and really be determined in wanting to do it.
Right.
So my main reason was for health reasons. I don't want my health to fail.
Right.
So I guess that was my motivator. And then I was just fed up. I mean, it took 5 years to finally get fed up, but
Yeah.
That helped me during phase 2 and variety. I made sure I had a variety of things, so I wasn't eating the same thing over and over and over again. And I know some people are fine with that, but going into it, I go, okay, I'm going to just prepare myself for that because I don't want to get bored and start looking at other things that's available that I can't have. So if I just structure and plan it out now and make it fun and tasteful and the spices and everything, I'll do good on it. And actually it didn't take that long to prep everything, and actually I saved a lot of money too because I'm not going and buying it already made up. I'm making everything from scratch, so I know exactly everything that's in there,
Right.
and there's no added butters and sugars and
It's
all these
true.
other things that they may add that you never taste it when you go out to a restaurant, but it's actually in there.
Yeah.
So
I know sometimes you can feel it too because you just don't feel that good after you eat there. You
yeah,
know, like there's a grill I go to and I have um you guys, I've probably said this on every interview. I should probably stop saying it, but in phase 4, I go to this grill and I eat this bunless burger and fries. I'm sorry, I need to stop saying this. Anyway, I when I eat that, I actually feel great after. There's another restaurant that we keep trying because it's in another location that's more convenient for when we go to nature, right?
yeah,
No matter what I order there, I do not feel good after. It doesn't matter if it's a salad or a steak or a bunless burger, or it doesn't matter what it is, it just feels so heavy and yucky in me. And I don't, you know, I'm like, what is in here? Like, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's probably just super heavy and probably weird preservatives, and I just feel gross after I eat there every time.
yeah. I mean, I definitely feel that when we go to a couple of places. I know what my body wants to keep inside, and I know what my body just goes, get it out of me right now.
No, we're
And
done.
it's whatever they mix with it, just
Yeah.
mix with me.
It's interesting. So, and I think that shows too that it pays to find maybe like wherever you live, restaurants that feel good. I think they're there. There's
Yeah,
restaurants that are going to feel good and restaurants that won't. So find those ones that feel good because you will be able to go to those, you
yeah,
know, and not have
exactly.
to feel all crummy.
Yeah, I mean, we live in an area it's by Napa Valley, so we have
Oh,
all
lots of,
kinds of the
yes,
good restaurants out here. So we do have a good
definitely.
selection. Just have to follow, which
Right.
ones. And actually, there's not that many that do that, but I already know certain things that I can't have
Gotcha.
because it's just gonna hurt my stomach. So that's
Gotcha.
fine. I'm totally fine with that. It's probably a good sign because it's not whatever that thing is. It's should not be on the healthy list anyway. So
Right. Yeah. It's so true. So tell me, when you did your cooking of your P2 meals with the variety that you did you typically make most of your meals once it was time to eat, or did you do any batch like bulk cooking at all, or what was your kind of
I
cooking
did
routine?
both. I did both.
Both.
I made sure I had everything just ready to go. So I did a lot of the crock potting.
Okay.
So even if I'm at home, I even have a clay pot that I can
Mm.
put stuff in and
Yeah.
spices and throw it in our conventional microwave to really speed up things.
Nice.
So it didn't take that long. It would take me like 5 minutes, and it's just me and my husband, so it's just
Yeah.
two people that
Gotcha.
I'm making something for. So
Gotcha. Can
mm,
you give so I'm going to just preface this you guys with the foods that she ate in phase 2, some of them are considered I guess off protocol or rogue, meaning they're not on the original Simeon's list, some of the veggies and such, but obviously it worked for her. So let's not argue about this. So, and I did that as well. I had some different, but I just want to just state it for the record because everybody likes to do different things. But I also think it's a testament to the fact that you can include other veggies oftentimes without it there being a detriment there. So I'm just prefacing that. Could you give us a few just like examples of what you did with your crock pot, like what you would put in there? Like I'm just curious. People want ideas on like sometimes when you do it, you think like, oh, everybody knows how to do this, but actually we don't.
I like spicy foods, so I put a lot of spices in there. I love Mrs. Dash, all her different flavors that she has out there,
Gotcha.
or here, whoever Mrs. Dash is.
Thanks, Mrs. Dash.
But uh, I would even make my own broth out of that. So whatever, like chicken, if I put chicken in the crock pot and put all the different spices in there,
Yeah.
it made a broth, a soup that even if I wanted to have a little extra something, I can have it because it's just water and spices and just a
Right.
little bit of the sea salt um,
Nice.
and ground pepper. Try to get all the other spices that I would add in there. Um, like the ground pepper, not the kind you get at the store already
Yeah,
pre.
like you actually grind a little grinder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and add a little bit of cinnamon. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, so it would
To your
just give.
chicken?
little, yeah. So it would give
Oh,
it that little kick.
like Moroccan. Cool.
Yeah, yeah. And one of my friends, she's specialist in spices. She's Indian descent, so she was, showing me all the different spices
Yeah,
that add in there if I like spicy, that would give
cool.
it a little kick.
Awesome. That's great. And then like how about like your veggies and stuff? Like how did you include those? Like
I liked, well, I would add some in the crock pot, but I liked them grilled. So I would put them in, I would broil them.
okay.
So I would put it on a cookie sheet
Okay.
and spray it with just a little bit of, I cannot believe it's butter.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just a light spray so it's
Just a light spray,
gotcha.
and it gave it that little buttery taste, and would put whatever Mrs. Dash seasonings I wanted on there and boil it. I think it was just like 5 minutes, not even that. And
Oh, okay.
boom, had my veggies.
Oh wow. Were they
I love
what kind of veggies would you do that with?
asparagus, broccoli,
Cool.
um, not alfalfa sprouts, Brussels sprouts.
Oh wow. So only 5 minutes. Were they pretty crunchy or I'm
Yeah,
curious.
yeah, because of the butter, and you're
Yeah.
broiling it, you're not baking it.
Yeah. But it was still cooked enough to eat, sounds
Mhm.
like though.
Yeah, yeah, you
Wow.
cut it up,
Yeah. I love how fast that sounds, like the 5 minutes.
very fast and healthy. And then if I cooked a little extra, I might, put it away for lunch the next day from
Awesome.
dinner.
That's a
Yeah.
good tip. Thank you for that. I love that. That sounds awesome. Sounds like you said you used some balsamic vinegar too. That's a great one for
Yes, I
flavor.
love that because I was trying to, okay, what can I have that doesn't have the oil? So I
Yeah.
found big bottle at the store of balsamic, and actually it was pretty affordable, the size of a wine bottle. It was like
Ooh.
not even $4,
Ooh,
and you
nice.
only need a little bit. And it
Right.
was made in Italy, so it was a real stuff now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
But
and the
it
flavor
was,
goes a long way.
yeah, so if I did want to have a little salad, I could use that. I can use that in flavoring the meats or proteins or vegetables, or have it as a dipping sauce. Another thing
Nice.
is I would get all kinds of different spicy mustards, since I couldn't have um, anything sugary or sauces. I thought, okay, mustard, I love mustard.
Sure.
So I would add that into any kind of a dipping or flavor.
That's good. Yeah, actually, I think just my last interview mentioned the same thing. They're like, mustard makes everything better.
Yes, love mustard.
It's one of those few things that's like, wow, that feels like one of those things that shouldn't really work on P2, but it does. It's just, yeah, mustard. So that's
Yeah.
cool. You also mentioned some little treats. I wrote on here sanity savers that you had in the evenings and such. What's that?
Well, sugar-free Jello.
Uh-huh.
I got the variety of that too.
Yeah.
Um, the ice cream, that Arctic ice. I don't know if you've ever had it
Yeah,
before.
I have. It's called Arctic Ice.
Yeah, it's really good. So my favorite was the salted caramel.
Wow. And how
Um,
much would you have for a serving on P2?
they sell it in pints, but I would get the ones that has single serving. So it's like, the
Oh,
kids
I've
ice.
seen those. Yeah.
And back of the lid is a little spoon, so it's
Nice.
it's actually more easier to eat with that little spoon than a real spoon,
Yeah.
because you can just like scrape it off,
Yeah.
and well, it's made
Make it
for it.
last.
So yeah, and I'm good at. I would rather spend a little more on something that's already
Right
set up
there.
for me in that way, especially with
Yeah.
sweet stuff like that. And then that's not even too sweet, but something
Yeah.
like that, because once I open a container, in my mind, that's one.
Yeah.
That's serving. So if I have a little container, it's one.
Yeah.
So it's an eye thing. I don't know.
It's funny how that psychological aspect of it. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'll link you guys if you haven't seen it. Probably most grocery stores these days have them. And again, I want to preface this that some of these things like the Arctic ice and all that, they're not like part of the original protocol, and it's like do at your own risk. It's like it sounds like it didn't stall you out, which
Mm.
is great. But for others it might, like so just pay attention if you decide to try it. You had a small serving too. I think it was only like what, that's like a 35 calorie
Yeah.
thing, right?
Only
That little. And basically all it is they whip, there's like the erythritol sweetener and maybe stevia, I don't remember, and then whey protein, right?
Hmm.
Whey protein and like ice or something.
Yeah, and there's like a monk fruit
Monk fruit, yeah,
in
it's
it.
another sweetener, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and being only 35 calories, you probably fit that all into your thing, and so it's unlikely that it would be a problem for too many. But like you said, also if if you're someone else and you buy the pint, you might end up eating the whole thing, and that could be a problem, obviously. But so
Yeah.
if you're
And I
committed to
would
it,
stock up on it. I would have just enough for,
yeah,
my
right,
week. And so I wouldn't fall back or even feel tempted on it. And that was a good thing. Some certain things just start a craving, but that didn't.
that's
Even
great.
though it's enjoyable, it didn't start a craving like the
Yeah,
Jello,
yeah.
um, the um, Muscle Milk Light. Sometimes I would have that, and I still do
Okay.
to this day. At night, I will heat it up like a hot chocolate.
Oh, really? Muscle Milk Light.
Yeah,
Interesting. I didn't know that. Like different flavors and stuff, like chocolate
yeah.
or.
I like chocolate, so yeah, I had
Nice.
dark chocolate, and then even for mochas,
Yeah.
decaffeinated coffee at night, of course, with the muscle milk, and then during the day, if I need that extra snack or I want something, I
Yeah.
would use the muscle milk or
Cool.
the package. So I just pour it and go.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
And then
and
you also mentioned that you didn't do the grissini. You had unsalted mini gluten-free pretzels, 10 of
yeah,
those.
and those are yummy. Those
Cool.
are
Dipped
really
in
good.
mustard and a Diet Coke.
And a Diet Coke.
See? Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's nice to hear your experience with that because you did a number, oh hey, you did a number of different, different things maybe that might be off protocol, but it worked for you and it sounds like you didn't go overboard with them, like you were able to have the one serving or have the one Jello cup or whatever, and that's actually what helped you actually get through it successfully and lose your 50 pounds.
Yeah.
So, and I really do, I agree that everyone's so different. Like you said, some people can eat the same thing every day. I tend to be that way. But some people are like, I'm going to barf if I eat another, like, my mom did that once. Like, if I have to have another can of tomatoes and chicken breast, I'm going to barf. It's like, so yeah, I mean, you've got to work with your personality and you found a way to do that, which I love, in a way that didn't cause you problems with your ultimate goal you know so that's fantastic. You also mentioned that you sometimes would skip the apple and pretzels and have a 0% Greek yogurt with cinnamon and stevia, so that sounds yummy too, or a morning mocha using the muscle milk light. Awesome. Yeah, those are good tips. I love that. That's great. um so you did lots of different things there. How about like with phase 3 now? Like what were the lessons that you learned, or how did you go about phase 3? How did that stabilization go for you, by the way? Like, was your weight really volatile when you first got off or not?
It went down 2 pounds and then it would go up a pound and go down. So it wasn't that much of a problem with me. I still kept it like phase 2, but I just added the breakfast,
Gotcha.
added an extra meal and a little bit more things to it, but still kept it structured the same way.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that worked for me. And
Cool.
even when we would go, now I was more stronger to, like, if we did go out to eat, of course, pick things that, I can actually pick off of and have food instead of a place that has nothing but fried food or, something like that.
Yeah.
And there's always a selection everywhere. And then if you want them to make it a certain way, a lot of places are open to that because you're not the only person that wants that. There's a lot of people that already have been doing it for years.
Right.
So,
It's
and you
pretty
don't have to,
commonplace now.
yeah, and you don't have to feel bad about it. They're like, oh, of course, they're not gonna, oh my God, what? I have to do
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So when you did it, what did you eat for breakfast then when you added that into P3?
So I would have sort of like a breakfast burrito, but no tortilla,
Yeah.
with salsa.
Oh, yummy.
I would do that.
So like eggs and like tomato and some vegetable or something and salsa?
Yeah, yeah, and a little bit of the mozzarella cheese,
Okay, yeah. Yum.
or the muscle milk. or the fudge,
Yeah.
the yogurt,
Yeah.
with some low glycemic berries,
Gotcha.
strawberry,
Gotcha.
or the apple,
Gotcha.
the Granny Smith apple.
Yeah.
Um, and then the snack in between, I would have a snack in between, just because I'm running around a lot at work. So I would have the pretzels with the mustard, so not just 10. I would have the whole serving of what, 8. Each one's different, but I would say, okay, count them out of
Yeah.
what they say a serving is.
Yeah.
I bought those little containers. So it has one has this, one has that. So I know
Yeah.
that color container, that's what fits that product or whatever. And that
Cool.
helps a lot too. It helps me with my servings and keep
Gotcha.
them the way they're supposed to be.
Yeah, that sounds really key for you from what I'm hearing, that like really making sure that you have the full amount in front of you that you get to eat instead of having to like decide to stop eating some of it.
Yeah, well, because that's hard, But if you have it, and then putting things on a smaller plate, I even love. I went to one of our stores here, and it's like I don't know if you guys have a TJ Maxx or anything like that, but
Yeah.
they have these little baby spoons, and my husband uses it to stir his coffee and everything, but I like it to like eat with, and then I got the little
Awesome.
baby fork.
Yeah. Makes it like take longer and feel like you have
Little
more food.
plates. It's like I'm having a lot more than what I am.
Awesome. I love it.
I am making sure my protein is up, and
Yeah.
it's the fiber. I think that's what you're getting full, is because you are eating healthier
Yeah.
when you are eating more protein,
Yes.
more healthier fats, and more fiber. Sometimes I have to force myself to eat more. I'm not hungry,
Yeah.
but you're eating good food. That's why. Where
Right.
before I would just eat something that didn't even fill me up, and then I was about an hour later hungry because it had no nutritional value to it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny actually that you mentioned that because it's very true. You probably know that I have the new P3 to Life program out, and that's actually what a lot of women keep telling me is that they're like, I don't understand, because even though the calories they gradually increase each week and stuff, they're like, I'm like, some of them they're like, I'm full. Actually, some of these things you're saying I'll get 2 servings, but I'm getting more like 3 servings because I'm full. Like, it's plenty of food and like and then I'm not gaining though, and I don't know how that's working. But I think it's just when you eat real food, like you said, it just feels different in your body.
Yeah, and then I would say, you don't have to finish everything.
Mm-hmm.
That was another thing, was to eat until I was satisfied, not stuffed and full.
Yeah.
So that helped. And also, I got this from something you've mentioned about the when your stomach growls, that doesn't mean you're hungry. I always
True.
you were hungry, and I noticed like there's times, even to this day, if I have something that has a little bit more carb in it,
Yeah.
in the morning my stomach growls more.
Yeah.
Um,
It's trippy, huh?
yeah, it's trippy. So I'm like, okay, that's not because I'm hungry. It's
Actually hungry, or it's
embarrassing.
not because your
It's
body's
really
saying
loud.
I really need food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's true. So when you guys, when your stomach grumbles, it's a hormone called ghrelin. It's the hunger hormone, or I can't remember. But anyway, it's called ghrelin, but it's not actually like just because your stomach grumbles. Yeah, you're right. I don't remember which post. If I can think of the post that she's talking about, we'll link to it in the show notes. I'm sure Lucille can find it, so it'll be there. But yeah, we talk about how like there's that weird thing where if you have a big bowl of pasta late at night, the next morning you'll feel like ravenous, like the stomach grumbling, and you're like, that's weird. I ate more than usual last night, and yet I am hungrier this morning. But it's just like that hormone response from that, which is controllable. And actually, if you ignore it, it'll go away. And when I
Yeah.
fast, same thing. Like I might get a little bit of stomach grumblings, like at lunch or something, but after about 20 minutes, it goes away completely, and then I'm actually feel like just like I did before. It's trippy.
There was also a link, because it'll click here for more information. I'm like, oh, okay. So I clicked on,
Yeah.
and it said, if you take, what is it? Oh God, I can't even pronounce this.
What
Here's
is
a,
it? How's it spelled? Oh, here. Let me see. Oh, I can't see. Phosphatidylserine. Yes.
yeah,
The only
that,
reason I know how to say that is because I've been trying to say it for a few years. Phosphatidylserine.
helps.
We'll
Yeah,
have a link to that, you guys, if you don't know what we're talking about. Like, what? PHOS, it starts with that. But anyway, go ahead, continue.
yeah, that helps with um, my brain knowing that, okay, you're not hungry
Good.
by taking this stuff. And
Good.
so it's not even expensive either. So
No. Yeah. So
that
you
was,
notice a difference taking that.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay, let's try this,
Yeah.
and see if it works. And I'm happy when it always works. So
That's
yeah.
great. Well, yeah, one of the, it probably does more things too, but one of the things it does is it regulates cortisol levels. And cortisol has a big bearing on how much you feel like eating for sure. So I don't know if that's the reason it's helping or some other reason.
And it helps well, it's supposed to be also for your brain, nutrition for your brain. So it
Oh,
helps with memory too. So
oh, nice. I could use some more of that. Maybe I should take that again. Whew, my memory lately has been pretty bad. Well, I liked one thing you mentioned here in your notes. You said, I also know that I can never go back to bad carbs and sugary foods. They are my crack, and I know I cannot have just a little. And I totally resonate with that. But this, I thought, was such a key phrase. I'm going to put it at the top of the interview. It's easier to turn it down. I'm butchering it. It's easier to turn it down than to stop eating it.
yeah.
I love that. That's so true. I completely agree. It's easier to turn it down than to stop eating it part way.
Yeah, because you're tasting it, and it's like, oh God. I don't know, it's an addictive thing. They had something on a show that they showed brain waves while someone was having sugary stuff compared to someone that was on drugs, and the brain lit up the same. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of scary.
Scary. Oh my gosh. At least you're not crazy. You're not just like this weak willpowered person. It's like this is actually a result that happens, which is why you feel that way. And so yeah, it's easier to just avoid it.
And then I know when they do add sugars in foods, this is because they want you to buy more.
Yeah.
To crave it more, and one serving is not going to be satisfied. It's like
Right.
Lay's potato chip thing. You just can't have one. It's the
Right.
same thing.
Yeah, remember that, what's that can, the chips in the can? The taco.
Pringles.
Pringles. That
Yeah,
was like a chip, that and Sun Chips.
yeah,
If I would
yeah.
start on those, like there was no going back.
Yeah, the bag would never make it to the cupboard. It just stayed.
No, I mean, it's just, but you're right. Yeah, they do that, and it basically just makes it so you have no self-control,
Yeah.
So, yeah, another reason to eat real food, because that's not going to do that. Well, that's good. I really liked that. You also talked about just how you would treat yourself, or just how you would try to view things if you did maybe make a mistake, whether it's phase 3 or maintenance. What can you speak to that?
Well, I'm familiar with the steak days too, so it's you're going to slip up with anything, and so you shouldn't have to be too hard on yourself. You're only human. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
The thing that you can do is just to get back up and just kind of pretend like it didn't happen and just continue on, move on.
Right.
Because the more you stress out about it or go, oh God, you know what, I messed up. I'm just going to start Monday. Monday will never come.
Right.
You just have to okay, that happened.
Yeah.
Fine with it. Let's just move on from it. Sometimes you wouldn't even get an effect from it,
Right.
but just because saying that, just because it didn't affect you this time, you don't want to be like, well, I could do that again then, because it didn't affect me the last time, so I'll just keep on doing it.
Right.
Then one day it does affect you, and you're like, oh my God. So you're going in a circle, of swirling down and failing.
I know. I think we do actually tend to do that sometimes. Like you said, for one reason or another, you're not sure why, but you don't really seem to reap any negative consequences from like what you see as a slip up. And then
Mm-hmm.
you're like, huh, maybe I could just get away with that, but it doesn't work like over
Yeah.
and over.
And
But
if you know yourself,
yeah.
um, it's no one's perfect. Perfect is the non-perfect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I mean, I still I'd like to just really write more about it. I've had too much brain fog, but because it'll be 5 years in November since I finished hCG, and I'm not perfect. Yeah, I don't eat perfectly all the time. Like I slip up now and then, or I eat more than I would have liked, or something. I'm like, I wish I had eaten something else instead of that. Like, if I have several handfuls of like pecans and dried cranberries on occasion, I'm like, I should have done a smoothie because I could have had a couple large ones without it really being too many calories. And I'll have to kind of eat more clean for a day or two. You know what I mean? Or it just doesn't feel as good. And I still do that on occasion too. I think like you said, it's that thing where you don't let that kind of dictate who you are as a person, or that you won't be able to take care of it or make a better choice another time. You just need to move on from it, and
Yeah, and then you actually learn from it because you see,
yes,
after you've had something that was bad, or if it didn't agree with your stomach or it didn't taste the same, you wouldn't have known that unless you did something like that. So
sure,
you're like, oh, okay, well,
yeah,
uh, that didn't really taste like it when you really start thinking about it.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree, especially because when you do find plenty of things that you can have that you enjoy, but
Hmm.
that you can still maintain with easily, it's like, well, I'm going to do that then because
Yeah.
it doesn't make maintaining hard.
Yeah.
So do you have like a fitness routine now that you do and regular maintenance or?
Yeah. 2 days out of the week, I do yoga.
Yeah,
So it's the yin and yang of yoga. So on Tuesdays, it's an hour
yeah,
long. And so Tuesdays, it's more postures and so like a weight training. You're using your body weight and balance and stuff.
yeah,
And then on Thursdays, I do more of some stretching and relaxation yoga,
gotcha.
which really helps relax you, calms you, makes you see more clearly, not be so stressed out.
Nice.
Um, Monday and what is it? Wednesday and Friday, I'll do weight training on the knotless machines, and usually I'll do. Some people do leg day, some people do arm day. I do leg and arm
Gotcha.
because that's all I'm doing that day. Is just
Right,
that.
yeah.
So I'm there for about an hour, and then I'll do the uh, crunches and stomach exercises, more like a Pilates type of stomach exercises.
Gotcha.
And that's it. And stretch. And then on the weekends, it's just all walking the dogs, going hiking with friends, just enjoying it.
Yeah.
But not anything too strenuous. I used to do a lot of like the kickboxing and
Hmm.
jumping around, and I thought that's what you got to do to stay fit. And so when someone introduced me to yoga about a year ago,
Yeah.
I couldn't do any of that stuff. I couldn't, bend over because I had the sack of potatoes. Actually, it was in January that they introduced me to this.
Oh,
I noticed a lot of people in the class. They're all different ages, and everyone looked awesome.
cool.
Great shape. It's just so calm.
Mm.
So I took the class and I fell in love with it instantly. I was like, okay, this is something I thought that was going to be too boring and slow paced, and found out I've gotten so much benefit
Yeah,
by doing yoga
that's
because I've
great.
always liked Pilates too.
Yeah,
So it was just that little combination
right.
of that, and you're doing basically something good for your mind, you
Yeah.
know.
I know it seems like we don't slow down enough in life. So when you finally go to a class where you're like forced to slow down, like that's the whole purpose, all of a sudden you just realize how good it feels because we just don't ever give ourselves permission to do that because any other time we feel kind of like we're being lazy or we just maybe just watch TV, which is not the same. It's not the
Yeah.
same. We're not actually relaxing. I was doing some reading and they were talking about how the screen because they were talking about rest and all that, and they're like resting is not watching TV because when you watch TV it's basically like 25 to 30 frames a second. You're seeing basically 25 to 30 images every second that you're watching TV. That's how it's a video, like
Mm-hmm.
just at you like this constantly. That's
Mm-hmm.
not relaxing. Like, they're like that doesn't help your brain calm down. It's not refreshing. So of course we all do, watch it or whatever, but just like that something else more like that is actually going to truly be rejuvenating.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
It's
it's
awesome.
interesting. That's great. So you just, so about 3 times a week, it sounds like.
Hmm.
And then just other, whatever, just healthy activities. How about like, I know you probably don't count calories per se, but do you know approximately how many you can have without gaining weight, or?
Uh, yeah, it's about 1,800
That's great. That's
on. That's
fantastic.
just on not doing nothing, you
That's
know.
awesome.
So yeah, that was what I liked about the yeah, that's what I liked about the body composition, because 18 at resting. So if I did do anything like a hiking thing, to add that 300, but
Yeah.
to make sure it's good. I just remember when I used to work out at a gym way back in the day, that there would be girls on the machines going, okay, I'm going to have some pizza tonight. So I just bring this. I'm like, you came here just to burn so you can have some pizza.
Well,
Um,
that's
yeah. So
smart.
it's like, okay. Everyone looks at it differently, of course, but
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and then so what would you say now, just in general, over the past year outside of phase three, what's your general food that you eat, like types of food, or what's your general eating style, do you think?
um, I I love in everything basically. I stay away from the sugar because that has a problem. Like, but what I mentioned was like if we do go to a birthday party
Yeah.
or a restaurant with friends, and of course when they say the dessert menu, everyone looks at me and laughs because they know, yeah, I want something, but I'm not gonna eat it all to myself, and
Right.
I'm not gonna be able to stop, and that may trigger something. So when I go home, I want more sugar.
Right.
We do this thing where you'll get one dessert out of 6 or 8 girls, or their husbands
Yeah.
involved too, and it'd be all these spoons, and everyone just tastes that taste and pass it around, and then it's at the end of the table.
That's
So you
smart.
get something out of it,
Yes.
and it's a little bonding. Everyone wants it, but no one's going to feel bad.
Right.
And like, okay, you actually enjoy it. They usually say, what, the first taste is the best taste.
Yeah.
So
It's true.
yeah,
Awesome. That's a neat
yeah.
idea.
But yeah, I've always eaten pretty balanced.
Yeah.
Um, I don't eat a lot of bread. I do have grains,
Okay.
um, but I don't eat a lot of bread. I'll have like maybe the French bread if
Yeah.
you know. But as far as that, or the low carb tortillas
Yeah.
every now and then. But I don't eat bread. If it comes to the table, I just push it away. If we go for burgers, I'll have a burger, but they do lettuce wrap so well. I just
I
do the
do. I
lettuce
love
wrap.
those. I just don't care about the bun enough to eat it. It's just not worth it, you know?
It's not. So,
Yeah.
well, we went to one rib cook-off where they had 8 selections, and this was a contest. So, all these guys were all excited to get their ribs chosen as the prize. But they had all the side dishes, and I did not want any of the side dishes. I'm like, I am going to have 8 tastes of these ribs, So I
Nice.
didn't eat all of them. Some of
Right.
them, I had picked my favorites and everything,
Cool.
but I was able to enjoy more of the
That.
good stuff because I didn't have
All the
the
other stuff. Yeah.
pasta salads and all the starchy stuff and everything.
Right.
And
Cool.
I don't even care for anyway, so that made it a little easier.
That's good. Yeah, it seems like you're kind of doing, because that's kind of what I try to do too, is like basically pick the thing that's going to be your favorite in maintenance that you just would really enjoy.
Hmm.
That, yeah, maybe you don't eat it every day, but yeah, you are going to indulge, but you're not going to indulge in everything. Like, you're going to
Yeah,
pick one or two, like, what do I really want to enjoy? Like, for me, I love fries, so it's like I'm going to
yeah,
have the fries, but I never get the bun. I just don't care that much about the bun.
yeah,
Sometimes I'll even have chicken breast at home and not even get a burger. I'll just get fries. It's like, but I'm still eating, lean protein at home. I just, like, you can totally do that. Have your favorite thing, and that's going to really give you the most psychological happiness factor.
yeah. And
So,
on the weekend, I kind of let myself. I'm not counting calories or
yeah.
anything like that, so I kind of let myself have kind of what I want, to a limit.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, the wine thing, to try to keep it to 2 glasses, and you pick your 2 days.
Gotcha.
So during the week, um, no, it's a work day,
Yeah.
so no wine, and uh, it's easier to be more stricter and eat super super clean during the week.
Right. Yeah, because you don't really have plans with anybody.
Yeah, you're not tempted with anything and everything. And then you have something to look forward to. I got 2 off days on the weekend, and yeah, I'm not eating the breads and this and that, but on those weekends, I can just pick and choose whatever I want. I don't have to follow this strict regimen and menu.
Right. I love that idea of that you said like you try to just 2 days a week you can have two. Is it 2 glasses of wine total, or two each day that you?
To each day.
Two each day. Okay, cool. So that's like 4 glasses of wine. Hey,
Two
I mean
months.
this is important stuff. But no, that's great. You just kind of create a structure for yourself, and then you can feel good about it. But the structure is working for you, so that's such a great way to do it. Like, hey, 2 days a week I can have some wine, no more than 2 glasses each time, and then it seems to work. So you have the structure. You can have it, but you don't go overboard, but you're not completely without it, you know?
And picking the smallest wine glass, or if they bring out the wine glass,
True.
I I fill it myself, or my husband will fill it for me. I don't have someone come and pour it because they're going to pour it all the way to the top.
That's true.
And I always have it in my possession because for a while, before all this, the weight loss journey, you turn around, someone poured it, and you're just not paying attention.
It's true. You start
Pretty soon you're like, God, how many glasses of wine did I drink? Because I only counted one. But no, that glass has gotten empty.
Yeah, you're like it's not going down.
That's all.
Gotcha. Well, that's good. Yeah, that seems like a really good thing. I think yeah, that covers a lot of everything. Do you have any just memories as far as like before hCG and being overweight, your experience having experienced that now being overweight, and then being where you're at now, being healthy? Like, what do you feel are just some of the things that are memorable to you about that?
Well, I feel basically this is who I am. I lost that person in 5 years.
Yeah.
But now she's back and stronger and feel great. And age is just a number.
Yeah.
Numbers are important too. I mean, you need those for your blood check and all that stuff too, cholesterol, whatever. But you learn from past and present, and that's how you can move on.
Right.
I wish I would have, like I mentioned, I wish I would have known about it 5 years ago, but everything is it's at a good timing, at a right timing. Lessons to be learned. But mainly, and I constantly think this is like, I'm back. I'm back to me. This is how I am.
That's good. I like how you had said too, just in line with what you were saying, I believe all experiences, good and bad in our life, build a stronger person. Lessons are learned from our stepping stones of challenges. And I really resonated with that, because it's true. Like, if you hadn't been through what you've been through, it sounds like you've been enjoying helping other people now with the protocol. And it's like you wouldn't have that to give, actually.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, share your experiences, and I think more girls are more open to that too. So when you're telling a story, you don't know who's overhearing it, and they're like, "Oh, okay." Maybe they were afraid to ask, and now they're going to ask you, and it's open door. It's like, yeah, how can I help? And I might know someone that's gone through it if I haven't, but. It's good to share. It's good. It's knowledge. It's good to share what you have gone through if you're open to that. No one's going to look down at that. They're actually going to appreciate that information and use it,
Right. Yeah, no, it's true, especially with like a protocol like this, since it's a bit controversial and kind of niche. Not actually a lot of people know about it, so it is kind of fun that you discovered it, and so it's like this little secret, that you can share with people, and you're such a good example of it too, since you've maintained for so long. You look fantastic.
Thank you.
You've obviously, you look very healthy, so it speaks volumes, like without even you saying anything. It's like, so that alone, is evidence there. Well, just maybe last couple little questions for people maybe who are thinking about doing the protocol, or maybe who've done it and struggled. What do you think are the important things to keep in mind that can like cause problems on the protocol and prevent you from moving forward or being successful?
Um, Stay positive. Um, Try not to listen to those other voices. Other people are like, oh, see, I told you it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know, why are you doing this? You don't need that. That stuff doesn't work.
Yeah.
You're going to lose a lot of muscle. You're going to mess up your metabolism. So all those negative things are coming from people that they might not want you to be healthy.
Yeah.
Or, you know, they just are not open-minded to things.
Right.
They don't know anything about it.
Right.
So follow what's in your heart, what you want to do, and other people will help you too. As far as your site, just hold your hand through it too. So your friends or some people might not agree with what you're doing. Um, why even say what you're doing then?
Right. Yeah.
Just say, I'm trying to eat, you know, healthier. This is for life. This is for my health.
Right.
No one's going to argue about that. You know, they
Right.
want you to live a long life too.
Right.
Cravings. Distinct what cravings are. Cravings aren't because you're hungry. Cravings are things that they're memories. They're things that we built throughout our lives. And so a smell of something reminds you of something from childhood or a happy time, or, you know, but you can make new cravings and new memories. There's so much stuff out there that tastes just as good. And a lot of the stuff you probably even have tasted yet,
It's true.
or, you know, tried out and made something. So you can make a whole new craving, that's healthy and brings a nice, good memory to it, and share it, you know. But yeah, just to keep positive and forgive yourself, get plenty of sleep,
Yeah.
and go into it knowing what you're getting into. Your mind has to be straight and look straight ahead. You're at the light at the other end of the tunnel, and don't look at these little doors that are whispering certain things, you know, because it's going to draw your attention elsewhere and nick at you. There's no reason why you should have to go through that, period, at all. Because you're doing this for yourself. You're doing a lot already for yourself.
Right.
So yeah.
That's good. Those are nice thoughts, Tamara. Thank you. Yeah. I like too because I'm trying to remember what exactly you said, but just you can oh yeah, I think you talked about creating new memories. That's what it was. And that made me think about how, you know, like with the brain, all the research they do, you can create new pathways that become well tread, you know, where yeah, that becomes the new comforting thing to do.
Yes.
Whereas maybe at first it's foreign, but you like, oh, okay, or oh, I like this. But yeah, like you said, we tend to gravitate towards certain things because of habit and memories. So it's because it's a well-tread pathway, so it's comforting. But
Yeah.
it's true, we can change it. And at first it might not feel like that comforting thing yet because it's not a well-worn pathway.
Mm-hmm.
But then as you keep doing it, it becomes that, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's like the apple with the dessert that has the little Splenda and cinnamon.
Yeah.
That reminds me of when my mom used to make these little apple tarts. And I mean, it was probably a lot more fattening, you know, and
Yeah.
the dough and all that stuff. But that's what it reminds me of.
That's cool.
And it's a healthy one. So you just kind of changed it around.
A little
So
bit, yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. It's funny too, sometimes it's even like the smells of stuff too that, you know, the aroma probably of that. I think for me, my grandma, she used to make this Greek dish with these noodles. They're like really big. They're like this big and they're really long.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what makes it special or whatever. And then there's a certain type of cheese. It's called cassetti cheese. It's a Greek cheese. And then you brown the butter. So it's basically like macaroni and cheese, but the Greek version. so,
Yeah.
so, yeah. So it's this white cheese. It's kind of like a pungent taste, and then you brown the butter, and then you layer it. You have the noodles, you put the cheese, you drizzle the butter, then more noodles, then more cheese, then you drizzle the butter, and it's like, Oh my goodness. I mean, I could never have it again. I would eat the whole thing. I mean, it would probably be like 5,000 calories. But the funny thing was is like not too long. I loved it though, and it makes me think of her. And yeah, so actually this it's not as amazing, but like with miracle noodles or even with cauliflower, honestly, steamed cauliflower, I've browned butter and then used the cheese grated and put that on there. And actually it like you said, it gives me that it's kind of that taste.
Yeah, it's
And
like
that
the
memories.
cauliflower, the mashed potato, you know,
Mm-hmm.
cauliflower.
Yeah.
I love mashed potatoes. That's one
Is
of my
it?
loves. But it's like I can
Oh,
make that,
nice.
and I would let myself have some mashed potato for Thanksgiving. It's
Sure.
like it's a holiday thing.
Right.
But someone prepared the cauliflower one, and I'm like, this is really good. I mean, it
Awesome.
really tastes like
The
well, how they
comfort food.
prepared it. It's just
Yeah.
like potato.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and the noodles are good too. I mean, they're different varieties. Because when
Hmm.
I first saw the noodle, they only had one type, but they have the
The miracle
veggies.
noodles, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, they
all
have rice now. Well, miracle rice, like little tiny granules. And then the fettuccine. Yep.
yeah,
Angel
making it
hair.
easier.
Yeah, no, it does. It's true. Well, thank you so much for being with me today, Tamara. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, and you look fantastic. You do not look 51 at all.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you look great. And it's so awesome that you've been maintaining so long and you have your fitness routine, you're strong and yeah, just keep it up. So thank
Thank you, and you too, because you are
you.
changing people's lives.
Thank you. It's fun. I enjoy all the I love doing the interviews especially. I think those are fun and people really they get a lot out of it because the blog is fun and but I'm on it a lot and so it doesn't matter if you're a nice person, people are going to get tired of you. So it's like we need other people, so that's why I have guests come on. We can talk about your story and there's just so much value in all the different stories too. It's
They are very different, and
yeah.
I've told a couple of my friends, but you got to see this one.
Yeah.
She's saying exactly what you said you were going through.
Yeah.
Watch her because you learn things
Gives you
from
hope.
these.
Yeah.
And I have one of my friends, her husband's gonna start, and so
Oh.
I said, you got to look at the guys' interviews. There's guys on there.
I know a few. I wish I could get more. Yeah. Guys are the problem with the guys is that they're not that talk. Guys are just not as talkative. They're not as interested in like communing and sharing stories. So I'm like, can I interview you? And they're like, oh yeah, maybe later. And then I never hear from them again. Or a lot of guys like just they don't care too much about weight really. So they might try it but then not stick to it. But that's funny. Well, you have a good rest of your evening and thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
You too.